Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in the market or to just learn from the market. But first, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that, because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, y'all, let's get started. So we are now looking at this SPY, and y'all, it's been an interesting, yesterday was just interesting in the market, let's say that, right? So looking at the SPY, we closed at 560.58. As you can see, immediately my eye goes to this gathering spot. I like to look at this 30-minute chart. It tells me a story I like to read, right? So as of now, we moved up to this ATR trail and stopped only to have some trouble, got rejected a little bit, and guess what, y'all, we just lost that and came all the way back down. You see where we found support at this line here. So where are the trouble places as of now for the SPY? Let's say around the 560, 167, right? If we lose this area, there's a few layers of support under that at 560, 149, and then here at 560, 128. So if we break those layers here, 561.28 is back in this area here, so we definitely need to be careful there. If we should break that, we can come back to the 561, breaking that 561, 560.87, and again at 560.71. Should we break the 560.71, we could very well come back to 559.84 and find support. Breaking that 559.84, we can have a few layers here at 559.69 down to the 559.52. Again, I look at support and resistance on a smaller scale because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible trouble places are. So that's why we have so many lines here. So this from 559.69 down to the 559.52 could be a support place. Breaking that 559.23, yes, and if we should break that, it brings us back to the 559 even. So the market could be interesting today, y'all. We had a nice sell-off, or a nice sell-off on yesterday. So these are areas to the downside that I will watch for the SPY. Now back to the upside, it would definitely need to get back above 562.06. If we should break that level, 562.29, 562.56, 562.91, and if we should break that, it puts us above the 50 EMA on the 30-minute chart around the 563.03. And if we break that 563.03, 563.20 could be a trouble place, and breaking that brings us back to 563.50, which is not far from this ATR trailing stop where we previously had trouble before, 563.75. So we definitely need to watch that area. If by chance we break above that 563.75, we know that 564.20 could be a trouble place, and 564.84 could be a trouble place. So if you are trading the SPY today, those are areas to the upside and to the downside, or your support and resistance areas. I say so often, y'all, anything is possible, nothing is guaranteed, so trade carefully, right? So we are looking at Tesla, and Tesla had a very nice decline on yesterday. So we closed at 222.15. We had a low yesterday of 210.52, and as you can see, it came down to an area that we marked here. So it's why it's so important to mark these areas, because there's a strong possibility that we're coming back to that place again, and that's where we are, right? So looking at Tesla as of right now, support is around this 223.93. Interesting, from 222.15, right? 223.93, although we did run up and come back to this area. I needed to point that out, right? So back to the upside, where are the trouble places for Tesla? I would watch the 225.21, 226.13, and if we break that, 227.41. Breaking that level, 228.10, again at 229.06. If we should break that, 229.88, and if we break that, 231, no, 231, I don't know why I said 281, 231.15, and if we should break that level, we could possibly have trouble again, 232.02 or 232 area. And as you can see, the high of this candle here was 233.50. So, can we come down, find support, and move back to the upside? We very well can, but if you're trading Tesla today, I say trade carefully, right? So Again, back to the downside, it will definitely have some issues possibly around this 222.98 area. Again, at 222 even, breaking that brings us back to 220.61. If we should break that, 219.68, and it's not far from the ATR trail, and stop at the 218.90. So if we break that 218.90, just know we can find support again, 217.99, and breaking that, we can very well come back to the 215.99. Now, I will watch Tesla under that 215.99. We could very well come back to the 214.57. That's this area right here, 214.57. So we need to watch that. And if by chance we break that, as you can see, there's a few layers of support that can hold us up here. But I would definitely watch around the 212.76 or, under 212.20 area, because that's where price stopped here. That's where the body of these candles are. So I would definitely watch that for Tesla. And if we break that 212.09 or 212.10 area, we can very well come back to the 210.75. So if you're trading Tesla today, these are areas to the upside and to the downside that I will watch as support and resistance. Again, not financial advice. It's just interesting to see Tesla where it is today. But I say so often, Tesla does what it does because it just moves so interesting, and it normally exceeds its ATR. Just as yesterday, that sell-off, it definitely exceeded the ATR. So again, I say so often, trade carefully, right? So let's go see where NVDA is today. NVDA closed at 106.98. This was a gathering spot for us immediately. I went to this place, and this was a rejection area for us, only to be trading in a zone. Actually, it was from this place to this place. So our support was around 107.14. Resistance was around the 108.52. So we kind of traded in that zone. So where are the trouble places as of now? Above this 108.52, we could possibly have trouble again. 109.87, breaking that level. 110.93, breaking that brings us to 111.36, not far from this 200 EMA at 111.34. If we should break that for NVIDIA, I would definitely watch around the 112.65. And if we break the 112.65, 113.34. Now back to the downside under. Looks like we're breaking under this now. 107.14. We could come back to this zone or this area, 106.24. Breaking that brings us to 105.52 area. And if we should break that, we have 105 even, as that 105 is, in my opinion, strong support. We have the ATR trail and stop, and we have, a previous support line that I had marked. So I would definitely watch the 105 if I'm trading NVIDIA today. Again, not financial advice. Breaking that level brings us back to another gathering spot or support area around 103.86. And if we should break that, we have 103.15. Breaking that level brings us back to 102.46. So if you're trading NVIDIA today, those are areas to the upside and to the downside. And I say often, trade carefully, and once it goes against your why, get out. Live to trade another day, because this market is so interesting. It is, in my opinion, definitely a scalper's market, meaning go in, get your profit, get out, because we don't know how the market is going to move, and we can't predict the market. That's why it's important that we trade what we see. We are now looking at AMD. We closed at $96.63. Support is around the 97.69 as of now. Resistance around the 98.66. Now back to the upside. If we break that 98.66, we have 99.10 as a resistance area possible. If we should break that, 99.27, again 99.52, and $100.14. For some reason, I remember that $100.14. If we break that level, we could possibly have trouble. $100.45, and again $100.36. So those are your areas to the upside or your resistance areas for AMD. Now to the downside, under this level of 97.69, we have a few layers of support here. So it will, I would say coming under 97.21, we could very well come back to around the 96.89 area and find some type of support. And if we should break that, 96.49 could be a support area for us. And breaking that brings us to the ATR trail and stop around 96.19. That could be a support place for us. And if we should lose that, $95.60 is a support place. And breaking that level brings us back to around the $94.71. And if by chance we break that level, we can come back to $93.52 as a support for AMD. AMD. So if you're trading AMD today, those are areas to the upside and to the downside. Again, not financial advice. Y'all know I say so often, trade carefully, and once it goes against your why, get out. Live to trade another day, right? So we're now looking at Meta. Meta closed at 597.99. I think I was just looking at those nines. So 597.99. So let's go and mark some levels today with Meta just to see where we are. Seems like this area here was a support area for us around here. That was it's kind of like a zone for us. And it looks as if we came up and made a high here. So I need to remember those places. I always like to mark that pre-market, right? So as of now, trouble places back to, let's say to the upside, we would need to get back above this kind of, let's say above this area, 601.57. Breaking that, we could possibly have trouble 604.02. And if we break that 604.02 area, we can come back to, let's say, let's go to the next 606.91. And if we break that level, we could possibly have trouble 608.35. If we break that, 610.56. And if we should break the 610.56, it brings us back to the area of 612.31, and breaking that, we could possibly have trouble 614.52. Again, I look at support and resistance on a smaller scale. So back to the downside for Meta under this level of, let's see, we're kind of under that now. So I have that 599.71. We are around the 598.76. Now breaking that, we can come back to 596.85. And if we should break that level, 594.29, breaking that level, 592.98. ATR trailing stop as of now is 592.38. Breaking that, 591.98. Not far away, right? If we should break that level, 590.81. And again, 590.21. Not far away. And 589.08. So there's a lot of support from, I would say, around 594.29 all the way down to the 589.08 for Meta. Those are the possible areas that we can come down and get, find support as here and move back to the upside. So just trading carefully, right? So if we should break this 589.08 area, we can come back to 587.05 and breaking that back down to this 584.46. So if you trade Meta today, those are areas to the upside and to the downside. Again, not financial advice, y'all. In this market, anything is possible. Now, we did have a couple of inside day candles, and what I like to do is give the trigger to that, meaning if it break above a certain amount, then this is a possible target. And if by chance we break under this level, then this is a possible target. So the first one on the list is DBX Dropbox. If by chance it break above $26.16, we have $26.44 as the target. Now, to the downside, under $25.44, we have $25.37 as the target. DBX is an inside day candle. The next one on the list today is KMI, Kinder Morgan. If by chance we break above 26.42, we have 26.51 as the target. Downside, if we break under 25.76, we have 25.52 as the downside target. So if you trade KMI, it is an inside day candle. The next one on the list was Kohl's, and it looks like they've reported some earnings, so it declined. The target to the upside, 12.34. If we break through that, it would have been 12.38. To the downside, breaking under the 11.83 gave us a downside target of 11.24. And guess what? We made a $9.80 low today for Kohl's. So if you're trading Kohl's today, these are our KSS. This is areas, it looks like we're having a bear flag now and pre-market. Again, it could very well change at any given moment, but it looks like it's presenting a bear flag for us. So we definitely need to be careful. If you are trading KSS today, I say trade carefully. Let's look at Netflix. It is at the $800 range, which is so interesting for me, right? Because Netflix moves, in my opinion, kind of like Tesla. But as you can see, it's actually trading in a zone. So I would definitely watch this area, let's say around this zone. As of now, support 865.39. Resistance, we're going to use this ATR trail and stop in a previous resistance support area, 872. 24. If we break that 872.24, we can come back to this area of 877.31, and if we should break that, we can come back to 881.12. Breaking the 881.12, 884.59. If we break the 884.59, we could very well come back to the 897.38. Breaking that level, 899, just $900.19. Let's say that, right? So again, Netflix moves really interesting. And let's look at the ATR, which is the average true range for Netflix. It normally moves about $36.51 per day, and that is interesting. When if you trade Netflix, I say trade carefully. Now back to the downside. Let's say if we break under 863.40, we have a downside. The next level of support is 859.93, and the next level of support under that is 856.45. Breaking that 856.45 area, we could very well come back to 853.14. Breaking that brings us back to the 849 area. So if you're trading Netflix, those are areas that I will watch to the upside and to the downside. Again, not financial advice. I say so often in this market, anything is possible. I hope that these videos are very, very helpful. I hope that everyone have a very profitable and a very productive day. In this type of market, we have to be exceptionally careful because there's so much news, so many things going that could lead us in what we think as a one direction, and it could very well find support and bounce really quick, or do what they call like a dead cat bounce. So we have to be very, very careful. That's why it's important that we learn the charts and trade what you see. So again, I hope that everyone have an awesome day today, a very productive day. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that, because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, y'all be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.